What's going on, everybody, and welcome to another episode of The Other Side of the Firewall, where we talk about the latest and greatest in cybersecurity news, as well as we highlight those movers and shakers and glass ceiling breakers, those people of color who've made it to the other side of the proverbial firewall. My name is Ryan Williams, and as always, I'm joined by Shannon Tynes.
What's up? What's up?
And LeVon Maynard.
What up?
What is going on? So it's been one of those weeks where we got kind of variety. So like last week was all about the colonial pipeline. This week we have discussed what was Monday? Monday was what we talked about the first episode. It was LeVon's episode.
Hang on, I'm just not blanking on now.
You blanked, right? Because we talked too much in between segments. We messed ourselves up. So
I was talking about,
we talked about stuff we didn't talk about.
Yes, post-COVID, like coming back and acting like a CIOs and emails. Yeah, phishing emails.
Yeah. So check out Monday where we talk about how phishing emails are getting more sophisticated in the post-COVID world. Is it post? Because it's still here.
Yeah, it's still
is it post-pandemic? Because we're going back. I don't know. I don't know.
It's maybe wrapping up COVID. I don't know.
I hope. This is not going to age well when we get COVID-21 or something. I'd be like, oh, we jinxed ourselves.
That's right.
And then the next episode, we discussed the hackers going to hacker court. So the whole post-colonial pipeline, dark side. Now they're doing hackers court because they didn't pay their affiliates. Pretty interesting episode. And then in this episode, like I like to call our discussion episode, is all dealing with the shortage of cybersecurity professionals. I know we harp on this. We talk about this a lot. And you're like, hey, you talk about it a lot, but I'm still not getting a job. Well, that might be changing. So the money's flown in, right? So I kind of want to attack this from multiple angles. So angle number one, ask assist P. I get asked the question a lot about jumping in cybersecurity. There's a lot of new professionals, I should say, because you guys are all professionals, right? There are a lot of new cybersecurity professionals that are crossing over from other industries. So anywhere from healthcare to, I don't know what you would call, like I talked to a masseuse on LinkedIn once. He's jumping in cybersecurity. I don't know what you would call that industry.
Some type of service. I don't know, like
yeah. I don't get enough of them, right? Like I don't treat myself enough. But I would say that also falls into healthcare, but also maybe wellness, well-being. There you go, something like that. Mm-hmm. But there are people who are coming over from all walks of life into cybersecurity, and they're like, "Hey, I'm having issues finding my first job." Because you have a lot of experience, you just have a lot of experience doing something else. And then we talk about how you can try to apply that, what kind of certifications you can get to get your foot in the door. Talk a lot about like 2075? Or no, that's different. Is it 2875? What is the DOD say? 8570.
70, yeah.
2875 is a form. Never mind. I'm still indoctrinated.
That's a system access request form.
Thank you.
That's what I was thinking. That's
Thank you.
Trying to get your cat card or something.
Yeah, when you're trying to get a new account, right? But we talk about like just getting your foot in the door, right? So, but that is in stark comparison to this article where they're saying like, hey, there is millions of empty vacant cybersecurity slots that need to be filled. And people are just, I think it's confusing people because you have, on one hand, you have all these articles talking about like, hey, we need you bad. And then in practice, you're filling out applications and you're not getting callbacks. But I think the bridge between those, and I think I'll talk about that this episode, right? Of the Ask Assist P that's coming up this week, because I feel inspired. I think there's a way to bridge those two things. And I think the main focus should be on this article where they're saying that these vacancies exist and the money is coming in. So I think some of you might just be ahead of the money. That might be the issue. Like, yeah, you now have the education. You do need the application, right? Because it means nothing to have a degree in cyber if never touched anything to do with a cybersecurity system. Like those two just don't intertwine. But on top of that, now, as the money flows in, they will be more apt to hire you to get you in the industry because they're going to need to fill these slots. They're going to need to fill these positions. And all of that is due, this article is by Claire Duffy of CNN Business, where she basically talks about how the Biden administration is pumping in more money into to protect us because of the 2020 SolarWinds breach, supply chain breach, whatever you want to call it, hacked by nation state type situation, as well as now the Colonial Pipeline due to DarkSide's ransomware as a service. So the money is coming. There's over $1 billion being pumped into the system, and companies are hungry to fill these positions because a lot of them don't have dedicated cyber teams. They don't have a CISO or a vCISO. And then obviously if you're entry level, you're not going to jump into one of those positions, but every CISO, vCISO, CIO needs a team, right? So you can jump into those entry level positions where you're doing, something to do with maybe vulnerability management or some low level DCO, all the way up through cyber forensics, up until you get into those C-suite positions, right? But this article gives hope. Like, so the optimistic side of this article is that the money is coming, the need is growing, and then the pipeline will open up, and you can start to get your foothold into the industry. So, what do you guys have to say about that?
It's obviously, I mean, as you touched on, I mean, you pretty much said it all, but it's obviously a field that's going to stay in demand. I mean, people need to stay secure. We also, in the last year, we obviously seen all the incidents with cyber attacks, ransomware, and I think it's like an in-demand field. But I think we touched on another episode before that there is some like pressure on some cyber professionals to do a good job, and the fact that maybe their job kind of relies on the company staying secure, and if something gets into the I guess the inner workings of the company, some virus or malware or whatever, it could be maybe affect their chance of staying at that job. They could potentially get fired for I don't know, for maybe not securing the network as they should, not having an action plan or some sort of a readiness plan to respond to such incidents. But yeah, I think like the fact that there's so many jobs out there, and then people these companies are willing to pay some big bucks for some quality talent, some quality talent that can actually do the job and secure their environment. I think people are starting to get companies and people in the C-suite positions starting to become more and more aware of the need to have professional cybersecurity, like a cybersecurity team within their organization to make sure they're staying secure. Because it only takes like a moment, it only takes like a little gap in their in their firewall and their boundary to be able to let something in, or even like an employee themselves just messes up and decides to click on a link that's inadvertently loads some software on their system. But I think it's obviously it's a big field, and that's pretty much what our podcast is all focused about, is the cybersecurity field, and obviously we dabble in some other things, but I mean this is a big point of interest, and something that I think is going to get more and more important as time goes on. And I know there's something in here in this article, just a little point of interest, kind of like maybe outside of what I just mentioned, but it has some sort of diversity report. It says that just 25% of cybersecurity professionals are women. So the ISC Squared launched a equity and inclusion program this year aimed at recruiting and keeping more women in the profession. So I think that's pretty good as well. I mean, I'm sure I don't know the statistics, but I'm sure even the African American or Black representation is probably even lower than that. Pretty sure of that. But it's good that they are putting some initiatives forward to like try to promote more diversity in the field, which I think would be a good thing overall. But what you think about this, Shannon? You have some thoughts?
So I got a couple thoughts, right? So the first thing I'm thinking is that, so with this, right, it's to the point now where companies are like, what has hit the fan, so we got to get some of these people on, right? We've been neglecting it for so long, right? We'll pay you whatever as long as you come in here and do it, right? But here's the thing. They want people that have the experience already, right? Like, so these people that are new, and here's the thing with cyber, right? So like, I think about this a lot, right? So cyber is not something that you can jump just right into right out of school, right? When I start thinking cybersecurity, I start thinking about people that just kind of have a, like you start thinking CISPs and whatnot, right? So CISP is often referred to as, you know, an inch deep and a mile wide, right? So like I am in cybersecurity, but I started off doing system administration, right? I started doing different things that lead me to have a little bit of a knowledge, you know, in different areas to where I can go into cybersecurity and say, yes, I'm familiar with, you know, this, that, and the third, right? If you're coming right out of school, you may not have that type of information, right? Like I can sit and I can talk about McAfee, I could talk about SolarWinds, I could talk about semantic, or you know, different things that I can't be expected to secure something coming out of school when I haven't had the experience on anything that leads up to it or may need to be all integrated, right? And the thing is, you never see a job posting that says we want somebody brand new out of school, right? They always want years of experience. That you're just not going to get that. If everybody wants years of experience, where do we start out at, right?
Right.
It's that type of thing, right? Because nobody advertised it. And I'm not saying you can't get a job if you don't have the years of experience, right? Like you'll get hired on, but the fact that people are behind the curve now and they want to get these people in that can hit the ground running and keep them from constantly getting attacked, those people are they're probably already settled and they're not in that. What did they say? In America, it's like 350 some odd thousand jobs or whatever. I think it mentioned in the article. I'm trying to remember the figure, something like that.
It was 359,000.
Right, but it's like 3.12 million worldwide or something like that, right? Something.
Yeah.
Over 3.12 million unfulfilled positions worldwide.
Globally,
So
yep.
yeah, but you can't expect somebody to just come into cybersecurity and when you start asking them, okay, well, do you like, these are the systems we use, and if you don't have any experience with them or even have a basic knowledge of how they work, like how can you be expected to be the cybersecurity person, right? You know what I mean? So like I think it's just that now we're in a rush, or now companies are in a rush to get these people in there, and it's like you may have to, I don't want to say settle, but you may have to get a little bit less than what you wanted. So that's my thoughts on it.
Yeah.
I was muted. Oh, my bad. So that's the issue, right there. That's the I don't know what you would call it, like the crux of the issue. Like we need cyber security professionals decades ago. Like we already need to have been fulfilling these roles. These people need to already be in place. Now it's a rush. Now, like, not only is cyber a buzzword, that because cyber's been around for decades, but on top of it, it's also woefully undermanned. But like you said, you want people with experience. But how do you get the experience? So it's a snake eating its own tail. Like it doesn't really make sense. So it's twofold. You do need the professionals in there, but you also need to not lower your standards, but lower your requirements to get in the door. Like there aren't enough CISPs or CISMs or any of the above, like to fill all these positions. Not possible. So you still need them on your team, but now you need to also be growing people. You need to be grabbing people who have touched a system, know a little bit, or you can get them sped up pretty fast in order to fill those gaps to start to build your internal teams, because it's all about the team, right? Like we talked about it last episode. We're burning sizzles out, like they're literally on drugs, like to compensate for the amount of pressure and work and just how hard the industry is. Like they're going to start quitting. Like you know what I mean? Like either you're going to fire them because they're coming to work inebriated, or they're going to quit because it's too much stress because they don't have a team. So it's got to be twofold. You got to be building these people from your internal teams. Like you need to start letting people in, like stop gatekeeping, let people in who have minimum cybersecurity experience. Like, do you know how the system, works? Can you learn it quickly? Can I build a boot camp or a training or an academy within my organization to start pulling in people who have an aptitude for cyber but have no cyber experience? Like, what can I do internally to start building these professionals up? And then maybe I net or catch, a CISP or a CISM or somebody else to add on top of the team. Maybe, because again, if you have 3.12 million positions, and you're always asking for unicorns. Like you want somebody who's a CISP and a CISM with 20 years of experience, yada 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 yada. You're not gonna get that. they're not out there like that.
They're more
This
than
is
likely
not
already
possible.
employed. They're more than likely already employed.
Yeah,
You know what I mean?
there's only what there's less than a quarter million of people who have the certification. Like it's just not attainable, and they're not. And the ISC square is not going to lower the bar. They're not going to be like, okay, well we got a half CISPs. That's not the way that works. There's a standard there. So you need to start to do something on your end. Like it says, like the only part of the article I didn't like was where it says, ask, what was the name of the title? I don't think I said it. Wanted, millions of cybersecurity pros, salary, whatever you want. That's not true. Companies have budgets.
Yeah,
they need cyber. The money is coming in from the government to subsidize it, right? However, you're not going to come in there and ask for whatever you want, especially with minimum experience. And I could be wrong. Like there's always people who are outliers, right? There's somebody who's going to jump straight out of college into a very high level position, getting paid a crazy amount of money. And then there's going to be somebody with mad experience who can't find a job. That's just the way it is in life, right? But for everyone else, the other 90%, 99% of people in the middle of that spectrum, you're not going to ask for whatever you want. You're going to be paid requisite to your experience, hopefully. So people have this crazy idea that everybody comes out making six figures. You can definitely obtain that, especially with the money coming in and whatnot, but not out of college, like with no experience, I should say. Like I think degrees are important. I have one as well, and the reason I have it is to hopefully one day achieve that C-suite level position is what I was going for, right? Not I like school as well, but like I'm not out here. I didn't burn up my tuition assistance to just for the enjoyment. I did it because I'm trying to reach a certain level, right? And everybody here has that requisite experience as well. I think together we have like 60 years or so, between 50 and 60 years of cyber experience. But you have a lot of people who need to get in the system, who need to gain that experience in order to one day have your CISPs. So you're going to have to figure out how to make this balance. Like right now, it doesn't make sense. You can't gatekeep people and say you can't be part of the team because you don't have experience. And then you're looking for people who have experience and they don't exist. The two don't intertwine.
Right. Yeah, it's got to be tough though. Trying to get that experience like that. A lot of these places are looking for. I mean, I think the most likely option is whether you can maybe find like an internship somewhere, or if you can find a buddy or somebody that has like some, that's a business that maybe you can help out on the side or get a little, get a few bucks here and there. But just like you said, it's difficult, like to try to have all these high requirements and expect them to be like lining up at the door asking for a job. It's maybe not an accurate expectation to have in this situation.
Yeah, because like Shannon said, they probably settled. Like once you have enough experience and you get the pay that you're looking for and you're comfortable, like let's say that you do net a vCISO position or two where you can work from the house. Like I'm not gonna come looking for you. You got to come looking for me. I'm probably already hired somewhere. So I think it's going to be a lot of growing pains in these companies. Like if you want to assemble a team that will keep you secure, you're going to have to start putting in the effort and giving them people opportunities. Because again, it comes down to aptitude, right? Like you have to like this stuff, because depending on what end of the spectrum you fall on, like when you get into policy and building RMF packages and stuff like that, it takes a special type of person who loves being bored. Like
it's true.
As opposed to you have people who are dealing with forensics and reverse engineering. You have people who are just I don't know, like DCO, they just do defense cyber, or you have a few out there doing offensive cyber and hacking and whatnot. Like that also takes a special type of person who can sit there and stare at code and want to actively attack and aggress on people. So there's people out there. Like we just have to figure out how to get them in the door. Again, it's the gatekeeping. Like earlier when I talked about like the masseuse or the person who's in healthcare, these people want in. So if they're passionate about it and they want in, then you need to figure out a way of bringing them in and then growing them. I guess the main point. Like, yeah, you could say you have 3.2 million positions open, but do you? Like, what is your standard? Like, they really need to figure it out because it's frustrating people, and that's going to make people revert back to their previous career fields. Like, if I have 10, 12 years of some kind of dealing with healthcare or medical or something like that, I'm gonna go right back to that. Like,
Right.
like the whole jumping into cyber was an illusion at that point. And then now your pipeline is dry, and now you're complaining I can't find people. Um, so I think there's multiple issues here that need to be researched and taken care of. And then you dove into the diversity as well, where we talk about only 25% of cybersecurity professionals are women, and then we talk about how only 7% are people of color, only 3% are in those C-suite positions. Yet you keep saying that you don't have enough people. Like, who are you hiring and why? Like, you need to figure it out. Because as you can see, hackers. I don't think hackers have the diversity issue. Like, I don't think there's no stat out there, but like, oh yeah, only 3% of hackers are women. Like, no, hackers are whomever is passionate enough to do the job. Like, I don't think that, like, I could be wrong. Like, maybe there'll be some stats. Maybe when we get through the cyber court, they'll talk about disparities and discrimination, but I doubt it's there.
Right.
Like, are you good at ransoming people? Like, we'll take you.
Right.
Like, we don't
I can
have the
imagine
same
them
issues.
having a court case where they're, this is, I've been segregated, or there's a lack of diverse hiring at this ransomware organization, this cyber
Right.
crime cartel. We need more Black people here. We need more, whatever, women involved in these cyber crimes. But
yeah, it's pretty crazy. So they're not to, so I'm not trying to be I'm definitely not being pessimistic. Like, the growth and opportunity is there. They keep reporting like, we need people, we need people. Okay, you need people. So you need to make some adjustments to get those people through the door. It's like the whole unicorn thing. Like, every time I look at a job posted, I'm just like, yo, you're asking for a lot. It's not that they're not paying well. Like, some of them are paying really well, but you're still asking for a lot. Like, you want somebody who does everything. The full, what they call them, full stack engineers and whatnot. They exist. They're out there, but it's not as many as you think there are. Like, you'll be woefully sad when you have to pick somebody who's just not to the quote unquote standard that you're looking for. Like, but that's a whole different argument when it comes to the hiring process, and people who are hiring don't know what these certs mean. They just going out there Google searching the 10 best certs. Like, yeah, I want all 9 of these. That's not the way that works. Like, yeah, we out here getting all the certs. We you know what I mean? Like, you pick your wheelhouse, you kind of go from there. You fan out when the interest hits you. Like no one's out there like, I want to be well, I mean, there might be a few people out there, but most people who have things going on, life is happening, they're not out there like, I want to do every single job and not be paid for it, like, because you won't be. So potentially, I don't know. I think I've ended
like
enough.
Yeah. No, you got some great points. I mean, that's very valid. I was going to bring up the fact that, just kind of going along with what you were saying about the experience level and the requirements on some of these jobs, that I remember seeing some job advertisement. I think somebody posted it on maybe it was like on a Facebook thing or some random social media, but the job listing was asking for X amount of years experience doing, I want to say it's like Kubernetes or something like that. And the services, they wanted 5 or 10 years of experience, but the service had only been around for like 2 or 3 years. And so they were asking for like more time than the amount of that the service has actually been around. So it's like some of these, job listings, the people, whoever puts together these job listings may have these, like, I don't know, they may not even understand the technology that they're putting the job listing for, and understand the effort that goes into the work that they're advertising for, and what truly what level of skill you need to have to run that operation. So I just thought that was kind of interesting, and I'm sure that kind of happens a lot, like you mentioned. It's the high level of requirements for jobs that really don't need that level of skill to perform at as at a decent level. So
Yeah, they just don't scale well, and it could be because those who are in those recruiter positions aren't from the field, which would make a lot of sense.
yeah,
Like you're just out there Googling, or you're trying to transcribe whatever your boss has asked you for. Because if I saw that, if they wanted more experience than the system, then how long the system existed, that might turn me off to the job entirely. I'm like, I don't know if I want to work for these people because they don't really know what they're talking about.
yeah,
And now you've lost a potential hire.
yeah. And I'll throw this out there too, that just for maybe some of the people that are listening. At the same time, I'd say personally for me, like I would apply for a job even if I didn't hit all these check boxes for their requirements of it, like asking for a degree, asking for all the certification stuff. I say go for the job anyway. Put your name out there. Upload your resume, whatever they ask for. Worst thing they can say is no. But a lot of these places, just like we've been talking about in this episode, that they are in need of quality workers, and they may not have as many applicants coming through because they have these high requirements, and they see yours coming through and look like, oh, you actually got some pretty good skills. Maybe not everything that we are looking for, but let's give them a shot. Let's give them an interview, or let's give them a call back and see what they have for us, or see what what kind of information, what kind of experience they've had in their life and their career. But yeah, I'll just say that people should not be deterred if they see a job that they want to get, that they're gunning for, and they see some requirements that are above what they currently have. Because I've applied for jobs, I've landed jobs that were above my current, like I didn't hit all the check boxes for that job. So that's my 2 cents, my recommendation for people out there that are listening in.
No, that's good advice. That's good advice. Like it is a lot of, so I don't have as much experience in applying for jobs, but the ones I've applied for so far, it takes a lot of work to target your resume toward that job and then get that cover letter.
That's true.
What I mean? Like,
that's true.
Like what are they looking for? What are the keywords? Like what's their mission statement? So I can see that being frustrating as well. But hey, if you want a job,
Yeah.
then you might want to put that work in. And like you said, that employer may want to look at more applicants that don't hit all the check boxes because you've asked for the moon. And I get that. If you ask for so much, you may be able to net almost all of it. But how many people did you just discourage? Like I don't hit, half of those boxes I'm not going to apply, or I don't hit every single box I might not apply. So again, it's a balance act. But my assumption is over the next decade, things will change just because of what we've already seen, right? Ransomware is rampant. They're attacking pipelines now. You got ransomware as a service becoming a platform. You got sizzles being burnt out because you're putting too much on them. Work from home is real now. Like we've always been talking about, like, oh, why don't we shorten our work week, or why can't I just do this from the house? Well, now we've proven that you can. So it's gonna be harder to get employees necessarily to stay at your company if you're not flexible. They'll be like, well, the job across the street, they're allowing me to work from home 3 times a week, or what have you. So maybe that'll change as well. And then again, that puts more burden on the team. That puts more burden on the CISO. Like it's there's going to be a lot of changes over the next decade. So, but
That's true.
I think we've beat this one to death. But thank you, Shannon. Thank you, LeVon. Thank you for listening to us. Please like, share, subscribe. Tell your friends about us. I would say we're pretty unique, very diverse, and we have a wealth of knowledge to share. So if you got a nerdy friend or two, please share this podcast with them, both audio and video, whichever one they prefer. Hit us up on the website, theothersideofthefirewall.com. Definitely hit us up personally. I am at RyRy Security Guy. That's RYRY Security Guy. You can find me on Clubhouse, LinkedIn, Twitter, and IG. And LeVon?
Hit me up on the Twitters at LeVon Maynard.
There it is. So stay safe, stay secure. Tune in for us the week. And then again, the last episode of the week will be the rundown, where we get just as nerdy, but not about cyber stuff. So hit us up.
Hell yeah. Take care.